Welcome to International Love Story, a podcast about long distance and multicultural relationships. Today, I'm welcoming Waziha and Taraz. So, Waziha is located right now in Bangladesh. Taraz is located in Malaysia. And I would like to dive directly into it because your story is incredible. Because you guys didn't meet in person yet, which I think is crazy. I would never have thought that something like this is possible, to be in a relationship without even seeing each other. But let's talk about that later. First of all, I like to know who you guys are. So if you could just describe yourself. Who's Taraz and who's Waziha?
Okay, so I'm Waziha, and I am 23 years old. I'm a microbiologist, and well, I like to think of myself as I would like to call myself a perfectionist, sort of. I like my things well planned and well organized, and I actually get very paranoid if things actually don't go according to schedule or according to plan. Um, I think that's something that is quite defining of who I am. And also, I think I'm sort of I wouldn't call myself an optimist. I think I'm more of a realist. If I just don't feel like something's going to work out, I just don't think there's a reason for being unnecessarily happy about it or hopeful about it. Yeah, and I like to enjoy the finer things in life. I do have a lot of hobbies. I don't like to sit and work all the time. I play the violin. I'm a karateka, and I do like to spend my time doing a lot of these things that are not necessarily my job. And of course, I love spending time with my boyfriend, who I love so much.
Hi, I'm Taraz. I'm 27 and I'm a chef. I would say my hobbies would be like same as Waziha. I don't like sitting around. I like to do stuff. I'm a creative person, so I draw, I write poems, I animate. It's just a part of me. I like to draw with my own hands. I like to use my hands in crafting and everything like that. And I love cooking. That is why my profession, chef.
Mm-hmm. And you're a very positive person, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's a balanced relationship of us because Wazia is more like, I wouldn't call her a pessimist, but she thinks of the negative things first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What if this happens? What if something bad happens? And I'm the one who's going like, baby, look at the positive side first. We'll look at the negative as well, but focus on the positive more.
It's a very interesting combination. I mean, the fact that, as I said before, Waziha is located in Bangladesh, Taraz, you're in Malaysia right now, but you're originally from Bangladesh. So you share the
Yes.
same culture.
Yes.
Yes.
Obviously, you're two completely different people. You do share a lot of things. You also have a lot of things in common. But what I would like to know before we dive into that is how you guys actually met, because you started dating on long distance. You've never seen each other. Like, how is this possible? Can you describe to me, first of all, how you met and also what connected you exactly?
Right. So we met on Tinder, and it was absolutely by chance. So what happened was he swiped me first, and then a month later I swiped him right. He had Tinder Plus, so he could roam around outside of Malaysia and get to me on Tinder.
It was like during pandemic, so like we were both bored, right? And
Yeah,
I
we were both
just
bored.
had to go out. Although we weren't looking for
Relationship. None of us were actually looking to actually date or anything or fall in love. So
yeah.
what actually happened was, see, I actually I was never in love before. I've been in many, many relationships, at least like 7 to 8 boyfriends. I actually never fell in love. And for me, so like naturally I didn't expect that I would fall in love with someone that I never met, and like just by talking online.
Mhm.
On the day we matched, it was Eid Day, which is like a religious holiday for us Muslims. He instantly messaged me saying that he finds me interesting. He would like to get to know me and all. And I was like, okay, cool, cool, cool. So then we started talking a bit. And then, we took a break for a bit because I just didn't feel like texting. And then after a while, I texted him back, and then we used to talk all the time.
Yeah, then we just hit it off.
Here's the thing. We actually never flirted with each other. It was just, we actually never flirted. We just talked like we just went very, very naturally.
We actually connected in our goals in life. What do we look for in the future? What mutual interests we share. We actually bonded over those. We formed a connection from those.
And on what we look for in the other person. That's important. And I think that matched with both of us.
Yeah, it's very hard to find that these days. I mean, mentality is a very hard thing to match. I mean, even if it's 50%, like you're lucky. And I'm the lucky one. I'm the luckiest over here because I would say it's 80% match with Waziha. Because I would call her my soulmate.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I would call him that too. I never believed in those.
Yeah, it's a very hard feeling to express because you just know it when you know it. And so those are the things we connected on, the future plans we had, the same goals, the finer things in life, as Wazia mentioned. So that's how we connected.
The kind of lifestyle we lead and the kind of lifestyle we want to lead, that we're working towards leading, and what we look for in the other person, in our partner, right? So I specifically remember asking each other like this, so what's your ideal person like? And it just somehow matched for both of us. And I don't know about him, but I felt like I hit the jackpot. So yeah. That was that. That was us meeting. And then it just went uphill from there.
So how did it start in general? So was there a specific point where you both realized, hey, this is my soulmate? Because it sounds like in the beginning you were just talking a little bit. For Waziha, it took a while until she realized, okay, hi, this guy is actually very interesting, because obviously you both weren't looking for someone, or for something serious at least. How would you describe it, the moment you both realized, okay, there's something more than just friendship and we really like each other?
I just got out of a long distance relationship myself, and I wasn't looking for any relationship, let alone another long distance. I'm not going on to that again. I started talking to her, and I didn't even consider her as a friend to begin with. It's just, I found her very interesting. I wanted to get to know her. Once I started getting to know her, I don't know, I just started having these weird feelings inside me. I would call it butterflies in my tummy. And I'm like, is this real? I'm not planning to go into a relationship, but what do I do now? And I started poking her, indirectly asking her, so what are your thoughts on this? What do you want to do? And things like that. And when I got the sign from her that she's kind of into me as well, I'm like, okay, I'm not wasting any more time. I know I was talking to myself at that point. I know that you don't want to go into a relationship, let alone a long distance one. But this gem, you can't lose this gem. You have to take this gem. So yeah, I just asked her.
Stop it. Stop. I mean, I think I was feeling the same. I was like, so I don't usually, at least at that point, I didn't express my feelings out loud. I was really bad at expressing how I felt. Even Taraz would agree. I wasn't very expressive. But I always I thought I made him understand. I couldn't exactly tell him that I was falling for him because he's like, he turned out, it's like talking to him felt like I was talking to my dream man.
Mhm.
He was just everything that I've ever wanted, and I just felt like he's like a factory made version of the person that I want. It's like I just custom made this human being that came into my life, and I don't know what to do with this. Like, I really wanted him in my life, but I was very, very scared because I was never in a long distance relationship before, let alone be in a relationship with someone that I've never met. I was having a bit of trouble trusting someone that I've never met before. But with him, I just felt like it just came very naturally, like the trust. I suppose it's just a bit of the aura that the person gives off. And what I felt was that I had to take a moment and convince myself that, I mean, this is an actual person. At that point, we were, talking with each other pretty much all the time. Right. So, I've seen him, I've spoken to him. We've both been emotional. We've both been funny with each other and emotional with each other. So I've pretty much seen him in every possible aspect by then. So I just had to tell myself that this cannot be fake. I had to convince myself to actually take a leap of faith, but I still couldn't really get myself to say, I love you first, or just tell him that I want something out of this, whatever that we have. But yeah, he was actually telling me that, so he said, I love you first, when he actually understood that I was having feelings for him. I mean, he could tell just by my face.
Yeah, because I was feeling that. I was feeling love. I was feeling loved. But she wouldn't tell me exactly that what she's feeling, but I could understand because the way she was talking to me. And because we got comfortable and I got to know her pretty well by then. So why stop yourself from saying those beautiful words when you actually mean it? So I just went for it. I told her that, I'm feeling this, but I don't know how to tell you. You may find this weird because we are not even in a relationship or anything like that, but I think I'm in love with you.
Oh, that was so sweet. I think I almost cried in that moment. It was like a very emotional moment for me. But I was really caught off guard at that moment. I was like, I don't know if I should say it back. I mean, I should, but I just didn't have the strength to say it back. So I was like, hey, it's going to take a bit of time to just, is it okay if I don't say it back? So I didn't say it back, but I was like really overwhelmed. So did I say the next day or like 2 days after?
A day after.
A day after, right? So I said, I love you a day after that. A day after he said it. And then
that is
some
the very
days
day
after
I asked you out, right? No, that is, no, after 2 more days I asked you out. Right.
Yeah. So it was like 2 days separated. So on the 9th, you said, I love you to me. And then on the 11th, I said it. And on the 13th, you asked me out.
Which month exactly? So last year in?
June.
In June 2020.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that was that. And he was actually planning on asking me out after we met. But I think we both realized that's not going to happen anytime soon. And he didn't want to wait.
I'm a very romantic person, and this has to be a grand gesture, asking someone out. And that is why I told her that, like, when we do meet, I want to ask you out then. But as she just mentioned, that it won't be happening anytime soon. We don't even know when we're going to meet now. I had to seize the moment.
Just one fine day, he decides to take a drink, and then I was on call, and he was like, all of a sudden, he's like, baby, wait a minute. And then he just put me on hold, and then he did something, and then next thing I know, he just sets the camera on the ground, and he sits down, and he's surrounded by candles and beautiful lights, literally just lit up candles everywhere. And he knelt down, and he was like, will you be my girlfriend? And then he said a bunch of emotional stuff, and I was like, so caught off guard. I was like, I have no idea. So I was like, yes, of course. But yeah, that was the start of it all. He's a man of grand gestures.
How did it develop from there on? Because, I mean, we talked about that in previous episodes already, that if you are, especially if you are in an intercultural relationship, in a long distance relationship, communication has to be on top. But communication is also something that develops during the time. So it improves, and I can only imagine that in the beginning, especially maybe on your end, Vasia, it seems like you were a little bit overwhelmed in the beginning and you weren't very open about your feelings because you didn't know where it's going to lead. How did you get exactly where you are right now? So what helped you to intensivate your feelings for each other and to build a connection even more than most probably before, because there was a connection, but it's something that also builds up during the relationship.
Yeah, so I think what actually helped was constructive communication. I think that's something that's very important for people in long distance relationships, and especially when they're just getting to know each other. That is not just any communication. I mean, people can just talk about random stuff, but it's very important to talk about important things and to actually detect and analyze each other, just by their thoughts, by their emotions, talking about important issues, talking about your goals in life. So I think, and how, talking about your own lifestyles and how you want to integrate it, how you want to merge it. Do you really see the person being, a part of your life? And I think for both of us, we made it clear in the beginning that we just don't do flings. We don't do relationships just for the sake of it. We both, whenever we get into a relationship, we intend for it to be serious. That was very important. So I think a common goal for both of us was to make sure that whatever communication we had would result in something that would help in a decision making for us, in order to be together, to decide if we were actually compatible or not. So constructive communication was actually very important for both of us. We talked about our families, our family values, each other's traditions, like home traditions, each other's things that we hold important. Do we both hold each other's points, like lives important? Do I, uphold his preferences? Does he uphold my preferences? Can we integrate it together? We talked about how our personalities are and how we're going to not just deal with, but cope with each other's personalities in order to, make this not a bitter experience. Because one thing that was established right on the go was that, like, we're already in a long distance relationship. The distance as is extremely tough. So we had to make everything else easier. We had to make everything else not be an issue. We had to make everything else more loving, more, because the more issues that we create, the more difficult it would be. And it would be more discouraging for us to actually go on with this relationship. So it's very important for us to actually talk about and accept and learn, especially learn from the conversations that we have, and not just, pass the time, just talk, whatever.
Yes, it's not like that we are not going to have issues. We are going to have issues because communication is great and all, but at the same time, we don't have that physical aspect. So we are going to have issues. And in a relationship, a normal relationship has issues as well. But we learn, it's not like we're asking ourselves to stop causing issues or not, but it's how we see those issues. It's how we proceed with those issues. It's how we look at them and try to fix it, not hold on to it and be angry at each other. We have some issues. We take our time together. We ask each other, babe, give me, say 30 minutes, give me an hour, give me 2 hours. I'll come back to you. Then we come back and we talk like normal human beings. We are not arguing. We are not having a heated conversation. We're talking about it. We're asking for solutions. Even if we don't find a solution, we try to see what are the ways, what are the alternative routes we can go. So that's
to
how
fixing this an issue, like,
we find a solution or we find a conclusion.
Yeah. And then if this would come back in the future, how would we deal with this? Or
Exactly.
if we would want to deal with this, just things like that. Very like constructive communication is always the key for both of us. How's that?
In our pre-call, we were talking about that Waziha was pushing away Taraz a couple of times. And I can only imagine that this, especially in a long distance or in the long distance relationship you guys are having, that this is a big issue. So what advice can you guys give due to that you made this experience to everyone who's maybe in a similar situation, who feels pushed away by the partner from time to time? I mean, obviously, as you said before, it is, okay, taking a break, calming down, and then talking it out, and be very, very open in the communication.
Absolutely, yes.
Is there anything else you can give advice to about this specific topic? Because I feel like this is also talking to me, because I did exactly the same thing when dating my husband on long distance. I would push him away several times, and he always found a way to deal with it. I have no idea how he did it.
Yeah, I don't know how Taraz deals with it either. I think that it's important to actually take into consideration that my habit of pushing away will not be the norm. Because in this relationship, I'm not the only person, it's both of us. So I also need to take into consideration that his feelings and how he feels in that particular moment when I'm telling him to go away. Right. So I had to actively, I feel like it's important for the person who's like me and you, Christina, that people who push away, to actually take a moment and talk to yourself and tell yourself that, hey, it's fine. And actively take an effort to open up and to reduce that pushing away habit, because this person's not going anywhere. This person wants to stay. If you really see that the person wants to stay, I feel like it's up to you to actually give an effort and ease up that habit. So I really feel like it's more of a personal effort that you have to put in this particular case.
Yeah, boost for yourself, yeah.
It's not easy at all. It's not easy because it's something that I've been doing for like all my life. And I feel like anyone in my place would say the same. People who push others away, they would say the same, because it's just a coping mechanism. But that doesn't mean it can't be changed. So I feel like the first step you can take is to just tell yourself that this can be changed. It can be fixed. It can be changed. And it can't happen overnight. So, but you have to give yourself the chance to get to it slowly. Open up slowly. Maybe once in a while, don't tell him to go away and see what happens. Just be okay to change. Just as long as you're open to some change, I feel like this isn't an issue that should be lingering about for too long. I mean, I'm not perfect now. I still push him away, but I feel like I would like to say that I'm much, much better than before. Previously I would just instantly just go away and not be there for a bit of time. But now I feel like I've stopped doing that a couple of times. I would just really just let him stay and actively tell myself that, Waziha, don't ask him to leave. I know you want to, but just don't say it. See what happens. Just this one time. So I feel like that really helped with both our communication, for him to feel a bit more wanted, more appreciated in this relationship, and for me to actually give an effort to adjust to this relationship for both of us and not just for myself. So,
and also for you to understand that, I'm not going anywhere. So, the advice I would give is to other people is that sometimes it can be really, really on your nerves and really frustrating that why is this other person pushing me away? Those moments are very tough, but it's just, you have to be calm and patient with yourself. You just can't give up. If one person is giving up, you can't give up at the same time, because you guys know after a certain point you're going to miss that other person, and then you're going to think that what I did wasn't right. So if both the person does the same thing, it isn't the right way. It isn't nice.
It's not going anywhere. It's just stuck.
Yeah, it's messy. So one person has to always be patient. at moments like these. So that is the only advice I would give. Just be patient and calm. Because your time will come too.
Yeah, because also what I figured out, and it's great that you're saying exactly that this is something you can work on. And if your partner sees the process or the progress you're doing in that, is a sign that you are really willing to work on the relationship as well. It still happens to me. I mean, Nacho and I are living together since June 2017. And it still happens to me that when we have an argument, I tend to leave the room, for example. I just tend to leave the conversation and I would just push him away because sometimes I just need some time to think about what's going on right now to sort myself. Because I also tend to be emotional. He still loves me. And I'm like, oh God, I'm so mean. I'm like, I'm pushing you away. I say, especially in an argument, I say things that can be very hurtful. It's something I'm still working on. It's not like I'm insulting him or anything. I just know how to hurt him.
It just comes out.
And it comes out, exactly. But he knows, for example, before an argument gets heated up, and it doesn't happen often, but sometimes it happens, I prefer leaving the room for me to calm down, and then he leaves me alone as well, because that's just I need my space in the moment.
You just have to give that space.
Exactly.
Yeah, you need that space, yeah. The other person has to understand.
Exactly. He has to understand why I have to do that. And on the other hand, I also have to understand why it's important for me and
to come back, to recoil.
Exactly. And then still be like, okay, let's keep on where we just ended the conversation and I'm good.
And not just pretending like this is just not going to happen again. We're not going to talk about it again. No, don't pretend that.
Yes.
Carry on with the conversation. Finish the conversation. Fix it, solve it, back to normal.
Waziha tends to just dive on the topic sometimes, but I'm like, no. You have to finish the topic. You have to finish this one now.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to you about anything you want, but we have to finish this one first.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep something hanging. I don't want this to cling on to us.
No, especially not in a long distance. You don't want to go to bed and feel bad about something that happened that day and not being able to talk about it. And there's a distance between you guys, so you have to figure it out. You have to work on it. And even though if there's no distance, like in our case, still the same.
It still feels like shit. Well, here's the thing, right? And I think this is something that we both really, really maintain, is that we never go to bed angry.
Yeah. That's important.
That's very important.
Yeah.
It is.
You never end the night knowing that, okay, we are not feeling nice with each other.
Yeah.
Someone has to call up and then, baby, let's talk about it, please. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, but I definitely agree with you guys. Like, going to bed and being mad with each other is one of the, in general, in any relationship, but especially in a long distance relationship, one of the worst things you can do, especially knowing that you're not only hurting the other person with it, but you're also hurting yourself with it, because you're both suffering when doing that.
Absolutely.
And so thank you so much for being so open towards that and sharing so many personal things as well. And I mean, it's not always easy, but you guys are proof that you can pull through it, and you guys don't even have the physical touch. So just imagine how it's going to be if sooner or later you're going to see each other in person. So you feel so attracted to each other by just seeing each other. It's going to be magical. What is the next step? I mean, what is the current situation in Malaysia? What is the current situation in Bangladesh? Do you have a date already, or what's going on right now?
So in Malaysia, from next month, they're just going to open interstate traveling again. But we are not sure yet when we are going to have international traveling, because we haven't received vaccines yet. Over here, Bangladesh is receiving vaccines now.
Yeah, so we got vaccines, and even though, like, for now, none of us people of our age are not, like, the frontliners usually are getting it right now, and the elderlies are getting the vaccines. Like my parents, they're vaccinated, and teachers, doctors, all of them, the government officials, they're getting vaccinated. So I suppose that for me, for like the general public like me, to get vaccinated would be sometime around, say, April. I mean, just to be on a more positive side.
Just for the sake of our sanity.
We decided to still give a countdown to meet somewhere around in July. Fingers crossed. So the plan is for me to fly to Malaysia, hoping if the borders open up, I would like to meet him in Malaysia instead of him coming to my country. Mm. So I suppose, like, if I get the vaccine, traveling should be made more convenient, given that I will have paperwork of being vaccinated, and, I won't have to quarantine. And I suppose it's not going to be as expensive as it would be if we travel right now. But then again, the borders are not allowing any Bangladeshis to travel to Malaysia. So, I mean, if they're starting interstate traveling next month, I suppose by July, they should start, hopefully, fingers crossed, international traveling as well, since pretty much everything is opening up. Everything else is opening up everywhere else. So, yeah. We're just trying to be hopeful and positive.
So that would mean when meeting up the first time, you are in a long distance without ever seeing each other since 1 year at that point. It's just mind-blowing. You're not seeing each other for 1 year. You're in a relationship. You're dating on distance. You're just seeing each other like via FaceTime and talking on a daily basis, of course. This is how you're building up your relationship. And oh my God, you guys, hopefully, I'm crossing fingers as well, are finally going to see each other in summer this year, so in June this year. Which is
really hoping, really hoping. It would really suck if it doesn't happen, but I don't want to be. I'm very excited. I'm very excited.
How are you picturing the first time you meet?
We planned everything. We planned everything.
I mean, it's all we have. It's all we have, right? So we were just talking about how he would see me in the airport and I'm supposed to run to him. He's going to pick me up. So we both know how we would look beside each other, because we use, like, the internet has everything, my dear. So we use, like, these certain websites.
Not entirely, because
yes.
See, here's the thing. The biggest thing I'm excited for is our height difference, because I'm 5'7" and she's 4'6".
I am 4'6".
So
4'6.5".
I can't wait to see what she would look like beside me. So that is the biggest thing I'm excited for. I'm excited about that. So, but we did, as Waziha was telling just now, we did check the internet. We compared our heights. It's not the same. I mean,
just to see what it would look like beside each other, so that when we're editing photos, we can actually, put each, because that's what we do. We do that a lot. So because we don't have photos of each other, but we want to show everyone how in love we are. And I think it's just not romantic enough to give pictures of each other like as collages, So like collages are just not.
Yeah, those are not interesting. Those are not romantic. The best ones are, like, she crops out my ex from our picture and then she puts herself in.
You didn't do that.
I love doing that. That is my favorite thing to do. He has all the best pictures with her. It's like, what can I do? What can I do? I'm supposed to be in that place. I can't be there in person. I can't recreate those photos. The best I can do is put myself in that place. Like, girl, you are out. I am in.
Because that means Taraz sent you pictures of him and his ex-girlfriend because you asked for it? Oh, wow. That's weird. I mean, I understand the point, but that's also very weird.
I wanted to see. I was like, oftentimes I ask him to talk about his exes, to send me pictures.
We are very open about our previous relationships and our, like, we want to know about our exes, what we were like. So she sends me pictures
how
of
we were.
Her with,
Can I get one of those pictures to publish it on Instagram? Would you be open to that?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so for everyone who's listening, I'm dying to see one of those pictures, and they just gave the okay. I'm going to publish it on Instagram. So before we publish this episode, you guys will see a picture of them in many quotes. It's basically Tara's ex-girlfriend's body with Waziha's head on it. Love it.
Oh, no. It's not her body with my head. It is I completely cut her out. Completely. And then put my body there.
She's nowhere to be found. My ex has
no trace. No trace. She did not exist. So I love doing that. Just putting
That's so
myself
cute.
in her place, because that's where I belong, beside him. I mean, I can't be there right now. So yeah. So that's what I do. That's what we do. And we kind of use that to fill the little gap that we have from physical, not being able to be there physically together. And that's what we do.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's something that we cope with. That's something that we're looking forward to, is that if we would actually look like that beside each other, like I edit the photos. I mean, I'm pretty darn good at editing photos.
Yeah, she's amazing at editing skills.
And he, every time he keeps telling me that, baby, you're really not that small. And I'm like, baby, you have not seen me. Like, you have not seen me. I am small. So, I guess he's just really, eager to see if my edited photo depictions are real, or if I'm actually taller than I edit myself to be.
Okay. Here's another idea. You're gonna make a before, in quotes as well, and after picture. So when you guys meet, I want you guys in a picture, like the exact same position, and like a before and after, just to see.
So we have that plan. Yes. We
already talked about that.
Yes.
That all the photos that we edit together, we're going to recreate them actually beside each other, just to see if it was accurate or not.
I want to see all of them. Yes, amazing.
That's something that we do look forward to, is that, actually seeing if I was right in editing the photos accurately.
That's so funny. So what else did you do? I mean, I know that you're using several apps. You're also using, what's the name of this application for movie night, right? What's the name of it?
Netflix, just Netflix.
Is it just because it has this new function that...
No, so what we do is we just keep each other on WhatsApp call, and he gives a countdown.
We tried many apps for watching at the same time, watching movies at the same time. It just doesn't work out. It just doesn't work out at all. So what we do is, we stay each other on the phone, WhatsApp, video call, because obviously we have to see each other while we watch a movie. Like, it is very obvious for us. So we keep the small screen, and we go over to Netflix, and we just do a very old-fashioned way of starting the movie at the same time. I go for the countdowns. Okay, baby, are you ready? Where you at? So we find the numbers where we at, and then 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
So at the same time, we start watching the movie.
And then when we need to pause, we just go like, babe, I need to pause. And then he gives a countdown again. So we pause at the same time after 3, 2, 1, and then start again. So that's what we do. That's how we watch movies.
And what else do you do to feel connected?
Baby, do you want to tell the secret app we have?
Oh no, I don't want everyone else to use it. Okay. Oh no, there goes our secret. So we use this particular app that I found deep inside the internet. It has this feature. The app is called Just Between Us, and it has this feature that's called Thumb Kiss, where we put our fingers on the screen of the phone, and the phone vibrates when our fingers touch at the same spot at the same time. So we play with that whenever I feel like I need some contact. It's just too much distance between us. I just ask him that, babe, hold my hand. That's when we go on the app, and then we turn on the thumb kiss feature, and then we just put our fingers together and we play around, and the phone vibrates when our fingers touch, so that the vibration actually feels really nice, and it just feels really like, we're touching at the same spot. And it's like, he just, like, on the screen, he just rubs his finger like this, so it just feels like he's playing with my hand. It just feels really intimate. Like, that's the best that we can do from this far away. It just, every time it tears me up, it makes me cry, because I just wish it were true. That's the only thing that we can do. So yeah, that's something that we do on very emotional days.
Aww.
And yeah, it's a very emotional, but that's the best that we can get from this far away, having never met.
I mean, you just gotta do what you gotta do. Like, you just have to take it now because we don't have any other options now. So
I really want to know what his hands would feel like, what his face feels like, what his beard feels like. I love his beard. What his hair feels like, what a hug
How he
would feel like,
smells.
all of that.
yeah.
Oh, that is so
Yeah.
important. I imagine that so much. Yeah. It's very sad. And
Your near future goal will be to finally see each other in person. But you do have several other goals. So, what are your future plans in general? Because it seems like you're on the same page with so many things. You talked about family goals. You talked about also, I think, financial things, right?
yes,
Yes.
that was very important. Financial management. So baby, do you want to talk about our goals together?
Yeah. We do share the same goals. We want to move out. We want to our plan is to, okay, she's going to finish her masters in the UK, and then she's going
Hopefully.
to move, hopefully, fingers crossed, and then she's going to move to Canada. My plan is to finish my degree, my advanced degree on culinary arts, and then move to Canada as well. So once we move there, like, we proceed further, we get married, hopefully. And then the most important thing that we decided on was, you're not having any kids. You're not having any children.
Right. This is very important.
Yeah, this was
No
very
human
important for the
child.
both of us. No human child for us. We are going to have 3 dogs and 4 birds. Those are our, like, not just pets, our children. Yeah, it's just like, we don't want to bring a life into this world where it's so much chaotic
And so corrupt.
there's so much, exactly, and there's so much responsibilities. Like, a lot depends on us, how we raise that kid, how we raise him to be
and how that child grows up to be a human being and impacts this world. We don't know if the child will impact this world positively or negatively, and that responsibility and that accountability will be on our shoulders. We do not want to take that. The world has enough human beings as is. Yeah, we just don't want to be, bringing or raising a being that would impact this world any worse or in any other way, because an animal would be very, very loving, would give us the same amount of responsibilities of raising, because the animal needs to be disciplined. We do have to feed it, give it a life, and all of that. But we don't have to worry about the animal causing distress to the world or being a threat to the world. In this day and age, in this universe, even if you're doing good, you're going to have to suffer for doing good. Like, nothing comes easy, right? So even if our human child, were to grow up and do good things, be a charitable person, he or she or they would have to still go through difficulties. And we just didn't want anyone to go through that, because this world isn't really made for even the best of people. They make life miserable for everyone, the good people and the bad people. So just don't want another person to be a sufferer of this universe. Just gonna be a happy little family with our animal children and us. We also do plan on getting our permanent residence statuses and then eventually citizenship.
Yeah, we are planning to get citizenship in Canada. First, we are going to start with permanent residence, which is the PR, which is easier for us to get, as just starting to work and being half students and half workers, like that. And then after, like, the procedure in Canada is, like, after you have PR for 3 years, after living in Canada for 3 years with a permanent residence, you can apply for citizenship. So the goal is that you're going to apply for citizenship.
I just feel like that country, we're both pretty fit. We would like that. That's like our like ideal country to be in. But
Yeah.
even if that doesn't work out, we do want to actually live and have our own, live the rest of our life in some other country, and aim for that, because I feel like also this is something very important. Like, we both love traveling, and I feel like none of our passports are going to allow us to have easier or like more efficient traveling around the world. So having a Canadian passport, or
It's going to
perhaps like
strengthen
a
our
European,
passports.
yeah, so then we can travel everywhere and just live a better life than being in a third world country.
Yeah, I understand. I understand, because we're going through the same process somehow, if you could say so, as an Argentinian. Yeah, it's definitely a third world country as well. And Nacho has some issues with his passports in several countries. I do think that you still can compare it with you guys, but it's obvious that people from, and it's sad as well, but the people from third world countries are going to be treated differently no matter where they are, which I think is
awful.
Yeah, it's awful. And I don't know, it's, for me, it's also against human rights, but that's another topic. I don't want to get into it because I get mad.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, same. I can't. It's just very discriminating. Very, very discriminating.
These are the reasons why we don't want to bring a life into this world.
They're going to be, experiencing the results of the other human being. The consequences of their birth are not going to be nice. So yeah, they're probably going to have to face all of this racism and all of this, discrimination.
I do think it's not going to change within the next years. Definitely not. It's most probably going to get worse. But may I ask the goal you're having, living in Canada or maybe somewhere else in the world, preferable with a Canadian passport, to be able to travel the world, to be able to see as much as possible, to be able not to be restricted the way you are right now. This is not a very common goal, if you could say so, in your culture. How do other people react on that when you tell them about your future plans, or don't they even know? Are you talking about that with your family, or is it more like, okay, this is something in between you guys and you'll figure it out and family will be involved later on?
It's partly friends and family. Yeah, my family knows as well.
So about my family, they're like, well, they're completely fine with us moving out and everything after marriage, and but the whole, living life. My parents are travelers themselves, so that's fine. But anyone else, like the extended relatives, they think it's not the Bangladeshi way of life, because the typical way is to just settle in one place and just live a life that's like bland, just working your days off, not even being in love and all of that. But that's just not, that's their generation. This is my generation. And I feel like as long as my parents are fine, it shouldn't really matter. And even if my parents weren't fine with it, it shouldn't even matter, because we're talking about my life, not theirs. We're talking about my traveling, not theirs. So yeah, that's just how I personally see things. And Taraz, what about you?
Yeah. My family is the same. Like, my family wants me to move out, have a life of my own. They don't want me to sit idle in their house, under their roof. I don't want that either. I want to be independent. I want to be able to support myself and hopefully my wife very soon.
I love you.
So, I love you too. So yeah, and about friends, I don't know, like, most of my friends, they don't understand. Some of them do, some of them don't, and I don't really bother, because first of all, you think what you want to think. My goals are what I believe in, so I want to do that.
You're both basically, to summarize it in a little, it's a cliche, but you're following your heart, and this is exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
yes,
you are concentrating first of all on your career, and once you are at a stage in your life where you are ready to live together, because it's like right now most probably you won't be ready. I mean, first of all, you have to meet a person, and then from there on, everything else will just develop by itself. Sometimes you can't even control it. Sometimes you have to work around it. I mean, exactly what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Always have a plan, but also have other plans in the other hand, because you never know. But you guys know that eventually you're going to get there, and that's your long-term goal, and this is what keeps you being strong as well, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It's very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We see that the end of the tunnel. We see it.
So for everyone, I mean, we were talking about it before already, that communication is the key. But if you could give one advice to everyone who's listening, what would it be? To everyone who's in maybe a difficult situation, maybe in a similar situation like you guys are. So besides communication, what else is there you have to take into account and you have to be aware of?
For me, I would say you have to do activities together, because just talking over the phone isn't going to run a long distance relationship. You have to spice it up, because that's all you have. So you have movie dates, you put just a little bit of effort on just smaller things, just like
and it goes a long way.
Yeah, it goes a very long way. We have our dates, we have Valentine's dates. This Valentine's date, we had an amazing date, virtual date. It was amazing, right? Yeah.
It was amazing. It was great.
Yeah, the small things. You put up the small things. I put up a sign over there with paper, folding paper, reserved for Mr. Taraz and Mrs. Waziha. So it's the small things you give effort to. That actually, helps a lot to survive a frustrating long distance. You do activities together. Suppose like a friendly competition of a few games. Then maybe if you want to do it physically, like to feel something, that you keep her or him in the front and have an art competition.
You draw together.
You draw together. Have small games, or play Pictionary, something like that. You just gotta
write a poem together.
Exactly.
And for anyone who's afraid to start a long distance based off of, just because honestly during this pandemic, starting a long distance would naturally mean that you have not met the person, or even if I'm pretty sure there are people out there that have not met yet and aren't sure if they want to go into this. Honestly, if it were up to me to say, I think it's important to be alert of, just be aware of the person's true natures. Keep your eyes and your heart open. Be alert. Don't be blind, but don't be closed off either. Take a leap of faith if you truly feel like this is worth taking a leap for. And I think the most important thing is to trust your gut feeling. Your gut feelings will never lie. They will never lie. So if something in your gut says that there's something wrong with the person that I'm talking with online, something just feels off, something will definitely be off. Something will be wrong. So if only you really think that everything is a get-go, and if it's really important that you both are in the same page. So as long as you're aware of that, I feel like that's something that's, a green signal for you to really go into the relationship. And even if you're not on the same page, you have to take into consideration if you're willing to be on the same page, and then just on both sides to make it work if you're really in love. So yeah, it really takes effort. Yeah. Effort is really important. Adjustment and effort.
Thank you so much, guys. So to everyone who's listening, you guys, you can make it work. You are the best example, dating on distance without ever seeing each other. I think it's so crazy. And you never have thought that this might work, but you made it work because you are both working on the same goals, first of all. And thank you so much for sharing all the information you just shared with us, the story of yours. And also, I'm so curious to see this picture. I'm gonna post that.
They're gonna come up.
I'm so excited for that. But I'm even more curious about how you guys will actually look next to each other when seeing each other in person.
Yes. I'm very curious about that.
Yeah, that's gonna come up too.
Yeah, and also thank you for giving us this platform to talk about us.
Yes, thanks for the opportunity. We loved having this conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was so great to talk to Taraz and Waziha, and I hope you also felt the energy in this conversation we had. We talked for much longer afterwards, and it felt like, yeah, meeting friends and also seeing them together while having the Zoom call was just amazing. And it was difficult for me to believe, actually, that they've never met. And it's so nice to see that a relationship can build up the way it just developed in their case. It's just mind-blowing to think about that they've never seen each other and that they built such a strong bond and that such an amazing thing just developed between them. I am dying to see them together. Like, I am dying to see how things will develop from there on. And I just got in contact with both of them. Things are quite looking good that they're going to see each other in the next few weeks even. And yeah, definitely, we will keep you posted. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And as always, please feel free to share our podcast, to follow us on Facebook and or Instagram. It's International Love Story. And yeah, rate this podcast wherever you're listening to podcasts in general. Hope to hear you soon. The next episode is going to be published on the 6th of April. It's going to be an episode where we exclusively talk about closing the distance, how it feels like, and what to take into consideration when closing the distance. And as always mentioned, the work is not done with just closing the distance. So please take care. Hear you soon. Have a good morning, a good afternoon, a great evening, wherever you're listening to us. And yeah, hear you soon. Bye.